is the season for all your holiday favorites, like A Very Jonas Christmas Movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then Hulu has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
We're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
All of these and more streaming this holiday season. And right now, save big with our special Black Friday offer. Bundle Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 1 year. Savings compared to current regular monthly price. Ends 12/1. Offer for ad-supported Disney Plus Hulu bundle only. Then $12.99 a month or then current regular monthly price. 18 plus terms apply.
Navigating school systems, surviving family gatherings, finding your people, and embracing your children's unique strengths. These are all the everyday moments that shape life as a neurodivergent family. Hi, I'm Greer, and this is the Unfinished Idea podcast, a space where we have honest conversations about the everyday in neurodivergent parenting, being neurodivergent ourselves, and building community, so you never have to feel like you're walking this journey alone. Today, I have two brilliant guests with me, Natalie and Victoria, hosts of the Autism Mums Podcast. Together, we're diving into the honest, funny, and beautiful real parts of raising autistic children and building community along the way. So grab your drink and let's dive into today's conversation. Okay, so today we have two guests with us, and they are from the podcast Autism Mums, not to confuse people with Autism Moms. Mums are very different. But first, can we just say hello to Natalie?
Hello.
And then also Victoria is joining us.
Hello. Nice to be here.
So you both are two mums who live down south of England. I love saying that, because anything is south to me. But you guys both have children who are on the spectrum. Could you tell us what is one thing, or what is maybe the biggest challenge that your family is facing kind of right now?
Ours is always the holiday times are the worst times for us, because my son likes to be in his routine. So now he's in a specialist school. He likes that school. He's really well supported there. So he doesn't really like to be out of that routine. He would just go to school all year long if he could. So when it comes to holidays, he finds those really tricky, and he'll sort of shut down a bit, won't really want to go many places. And that's where we see him more dysregulated and more difficult to manage. So yeah, those are our struggling times.
Okay. And I guess ours are, my daughter has been out of school for a year now. So trying to get her the right support, that's the biggest challenge that we're going through at the moment.
And with each of us, so it's interesting that they're both connected to school. Different, kind of different reasons, I think, but they're both connected to school, which is interesting. But what was in those challenges, kind of as you've been going through this and navigating getting support for school, but then also having just gone back into school, what is one of the biggest joys you've seen?
When he's in school, he's so much happier. He's generally quite a funny boy. He's got a really good sense of humour. So you really see him sort of come to life when he's in that routine and he's seeing his usual people. And yeah, he just has this kind of zest for life. And he's an outdoors boy. He likes being outdoors and saving bees and fossil hunting. And he's lucky in the school that he's in, they go out and about a lot. So they do a lot of their learning outside, which he just loves. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mine have both got quite significant special interests at the moment. So that's quite nice, listening to them talking about them. So my son's really into coin collecting, and he spends quite a lot of time looking at what the coins are worth. I think he's going to make a fortune. It's all about the numbers. and my daughter's really, really into Harry Potter. I thought I liked Harry Potter till she got into Harry Potter, and she dissects it at length. So that's always nice to see.
Does your daughter find any Easter eggs when it comes to Harry Potter, or things that you like, oh, that didn't realize that was connected all the way through, or, something like that?
Well, I took her to see The Cursed Child a few months ago, and I just enjoyed it. I've read all the books. I've seen the films. I thought, I'm reasonably well versed in Harry Potter. And then we went for the break, because I don't know if you know, it's 2 shows. You go in the afternoon, don't you? Then you have a break, and then you go back in the evening. And I thought it was brilliant. I'd had a great afternoon, And I said, so how did you find it? And she takes this deep breath in, and she's like, well, this couldn't have happened because of this. I think her problem was that the time turners all destroyed. So if they were all destroyed, how was that one? So it's things like that, or, in the book, this happens, but in the film, this. And she's very excited about the new series. I get regular updates on the casting and those kind of developments.
Yeah. That's the thing with my son being autistic and then my husband also being autistic, the kind of the black and whiteness sometimes is, I don't know, interesting sounds like not a right word, but like, but like they just, it's like, I find it interesting in that, like, this is the way, like this is, and, or this could not happen because of X, Y, and Z. And, even, and seeing that, I think seeing it in like my 6-year-old and kind of helping him see like, oh, this is, but it could happen this way, kind of trying to help him see like, there could be another way. But seeing it in my husband, and there's no talking him out of, no, could not, like when something, this is the way, I don't know. But I just find that interesting. I think observing and how they both can, having a conversation. So they both, well, my son loves Mario. And so we've gotten into Mario because my son loves Mario. And them talking about it is just hilarious to me because they both are so convinced, especially when they don't agree, because they like, but this is why this would only happen. And no, but this, it's just, it just makes me funny. It just makes me laugh and think, okay, this is interesting how your brain is working right now. Whereas I'm like, there's infinite possible ways of something and all that. So anyways, I just find that really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, they just are very black and white. And my brain is ADHD. So I am like, I'm just the opposite. Like I said, I can think of every possible way something could happen, or, the butterfly effect thing. I just love like talking about that and how all these things could be possible, but makes conversations in our house very interesting, we'll just say. But is there something, you guys have both been navigating the autistic or autism world for a few years, still learning and adapting, but is there something that you would go back and say to yourself when you started this journey so that, another parent could hear or learn from you guys?
I'd sort of say there's a lot to learn. It's not the path that you thought you were going to be on. It's a very different one, but it's still a beautiful one to be on. But yeah, just learn as much as you possibly can. Find your people, because there are many parents like us out there, and they can be such a huge support. Give yourself grace as well, because it's not easy, and make sure you take some time out for you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And how you mentioned, so I'm just going to segue into this, but how did you find your people? You mentioned kind of find your people. How did you find them?
It was actually at a birthday party for somebody in my son's class. He wasn't coping very well, but then I noticed there was this whole family not coping very well. Well, they were sitting sort of on the sidelines with ear defenders on or headphones on devices. And I went and sat next to them with my son's iPad, and we sort of introduced ourselves. And then you get talking, then you think, oh, you've got quite a lot in common. And then, yes, transpired, same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're still really good friends of ours now. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. That's a great way to meet someone.
Yeah.
What about you, Victoria? What would you say to someone starting out on this journey?
I would say trust your instincts. I mean, you know your child best. So even if professionals can make you doubt yourself sometimes at different points in their journey, so just remember that you know your child best.
Yeah, that's hard when, like you said, a lot of professionals are going to question. I found that to be the hardest part, is the amount of questioning I've had from professionals, questioning my child, questioning our parenting, questioning both, questioning all the things.
Sometimes it feels like it's the first thing that they go to. If your child's struggling, it can be, I know a teacher said to me, it could be you. If you thought it could be you, he's not going into school. And I was like horrified at the time. Like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And my parents tried taking him into school. Absolutely the same reaction. So I cleared that up quite quickly. It's not me, but those things come up, I think. And I know friends who've had the same and they're fine at school. This must be you at home. Those kind of comments. So
I remember with my son as well, when he was in mainstream, it kind of got brushed aside a little bit for a while. You know, he was struggling, but they didn't really want to pursue anything at that point. And it actually took a teaching assistant, took me aside, who had lots of experience with special needs. And she said to me, this is not the right place for him. And she was, you know, that honesty was really commendable, because she was the only one who was willing to sort of say to me. And it was only at that point that I thought, right, okay, now I need to fight to get him the support that he needs in a place that he needs to be.
Yeah. And it's that honesty of, I don't know, I think about, so we were in similar to being told, I was told probably 2 to 3 times a week by my child's preschool that I was a horrible parent, basically, bad parent, no boundaries, didn't do this, didn't do that, you know, all these things all the time. So that was fun. That was, we'll just say we've done a lot of counseling over that. And then to go into a school setting and kind of be, to an extent, gaslit a little bit, you know, and then again, having someone in the school similar to kind of Natalie, of someone saying, this is what you need to do, or like, this is, you know, they didn't necessarily say the school doesn't, he's still in a mainstream school, but like, it was just someone who was like, no, this is the phrase you need to say, basically, is what they told me. And then we can pursue this or whatever. And it was just someone who pulled me aside. And I'm very grateful for that conversation, because it wasn't your fault, but this is but you do need to be proactive. Basically, it was kind of that kind of conversation.
And that is really helpful, isn't it? That's all you really need.
It was like, okay, right. So, and in kind of that conversation, it spurred on. So I said the phrase I needed to say, basically, and then it spurred on like me doing a bunch of research to realize that the school wasn't acting legally or in good faith, and this is the support that he did have access to, and all of these kind of things and I thought, and that's what has made our kind of school experience really difficult, is because I'm like, I don't really trust the school. And if only they'd come to me first, or, you know, to come to us first and be like, okay, so, you know, I don't know, just we're really honest and said, we're really struggling with this, or we're really, you know, we really want to work together, or so, I don't know. It just felt like they were very sneaky about things. And because of that, it's like, I don't know if I could trust the school, which is hard when your child's at school.
It's 100% hard, isn't it? I remember being really surprised. So my son was in year 3 when he absolutely couldn't cope anymore. And it was only when I started learning more about autism that a dietitian had told me to buy this book when my son was on the pathway, and I was feeling very clueless about it all. But once I read that, with that knowledge, I then looked back at the last few years and thought, oh my goodness, there's loads of signs here that this was probably, you know, this was pointing to autism. And then I was like, they must have known this. Why did nobody pulled me aside and said, you know, it could be this, or you need some, perhaps, to get on a waiting list with the pediatricians, or this is concerning. So at that point, I remember feeling like, why didn't they tell me? And it felt like, well, maybe it was because it was extra work. Maybe they were hoping that he would get through to middle school, because, you know, all these things are hassles, and he didn't. But yet, with the knowledge that I then gained, I was like, these signs were there in reception, you know. So I do think those earlier screenings would be so helpful for parents and schools, really.
Yeah, kind of that just honesty, I think, as well. Why I know there's funding and money attached to things, and that's always a big thing in our conversations, is kind of the quote unquote cost. But, you know, I don't know, having a education background, like, I'd never went in it. I mean, teachers in the US make zero money. Like, I know that because both my parents were teachers, and, you know, a whole history. I went and did during, it's a total side note, but I thought it was just shocking. During COVID, certain businesses got kind of like that furlough. Basically, they didn't quite call it that in the US, but basically they made more money than by being furloughed. They made more money than their actual job, because the government just kind of did a standard thing. And what they were getting was like almost twice as much than a teacher was getting. And a teacher still had to go work during COVID times. And it was just a really shocking thing of educators don't go in for the money. That's basically what I'm trying to say is educators, especially in the US, do not go in for it for the money. They go in it for the kids and wanting to shape futures and, all of that. And so I find it really hard when schools are not upfront about your child, because I'm like, so why did you do this? Like, don't you want to help my child? Isn't that why you've gone into education? And again, I know quite a few friends who work as teachers here in the UK, and I don't know exactly we've never talked about how much they get paid, but I know that they didn't go in for the pay either. Like they went because they wanted to help kids. They wanted to, there was something about wanting to help someone else or whatever. And that's also what I find really hard. It's like, why are we talking about budgets? Why are we talking about all these negative things when I thought what you wanted to do in your career was helped kids? And by doing this, by having the honest conversations, having, those kind of difficult conversations, you're helping children, you're helping kids but not having these conversations, you're just, I don't know. I just find that really interesting and hard.
Yeah, I would have welcomed a steer, and something as well that surprised me was I learned that, when my son was in year 2, he was so anxious that he wouldn't get up from his desk to go to the teacher's desk to pick up a handout. But that hadn't been fed back to me. And that's kind of a horrifying thing. You think you get them through the door and then they have a nice day. Oh, I did at that point. So when you hear these things that have not been communicated to you, I think that's hard, because you can't do anything to help if you don't know.
Yeah. Totally understand that. Okay, we're just going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue talking about just raising autistic children and the hardness of not having honest conversations, but also the joys of having autistic children. So let's just take a quick break and we'll be right back.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels on everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes, now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox, clean feels good.
The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Okay, so we're talking about those honest conversations and how we are grateful for those who have had those conversations with us, who have done that in love and grace, not necessarily those that have not been the full truth, we'll just say. But thinking about that, what is one thing, a hack, I like to say, I don't always like to say tip, but what's a hack that you would like to say to kind of those supporting your families, so the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the best friends, the kind of what I like to call the allies of on the spectrum, and how they could maybe have some honest conversations with you, or how to ask questions so that you can have honest conversations with them about what your everyday is like?
So I think it depends very much on the stance that the people around you are taking. I think we've been quite lucky in our nuclear family in that we've explained what's going on and it's been accepted. And that's so important, just to listen, I think. Listen, don't or judge or try to say, in my day, it was like this. So we've certainly got periphery family members who are less understanding. That can be very difficult to deal with at family gatherings or lunches. For me particularly, it's occasions where food is involved, because both of mine struggle hugely with food. My son has the ARFID behaviours, so it can look like naughty behaviours. So I think I would say, please don't assume the child is naughty. Just listen to what the parents are telling you and about what that child needs, and just try to support them in the way that they say they need the support.
Yeah. No, that's good. How have you, I don't know if you've done this or not, but for us, so similar, our son is not food restricted. It's just he finds the sitting part of meals really difficult, and the kind of interacting, which sounds weird to say, because if you knew him, he loves people. It's just the kind of forced interaction and the sitting and he just constantly has to be moving. So we kind of don't do family meals anymore. Like as in with the wider family, we go on walks like to the park, and we don't live near them as well. So that might also be a benefit. I don't know how close or how often you see your family, but have you tried to do things like that as well? Like, do you have any suggestions of activities you could do that's not related to food or around food? Or, I mean, I don't know if you've done that.
For sure. So I guess that what I was thinking of is it was my dad's 80th in the summer. So there were just a couple of things. But on the whole, I think it's a good idea to put your child in the environment that they're comfortable in. So for us, trips to the beach work well, or even a walk in the forest. Those kind of environments are going to be much better. They're quieter, calmer, with nature, no food, no pressure. So I think that when you can, it's that's ideal.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, what about you, Natalie? Do you have any suggestions or advice or hacks?
Yeah, so when it comes to like educating family members, I suppose we shared a lot of like books and things we'd read on the internet and things like that. But one thing that stands out for me, our dad, he read a book about autism, didn't he? And as he was reading through, he was like, well, that's just me. That's what I'm like.
It's just normal. Don't get what this is about. It's just a normal child.
And then we're like, it's normal for you, Dad. So then you sort of, I think he's had a bit of a self-realization that he's autistic too, most likely.
Yeah.
Like things you just put down to like quirks growing up where, Dad had to have his chair in the lounge and no one else was allowed to sit in that chair. He likes to go out for coffee, the same chair every day. And if somebody's sitting in it, then he's not very happy.
Might even let them know he's not very happy. Same as on the train.
Yes, on the train.
We used to travel up to London for work. Always the same train seat, same time, same. Yeah, so a lot of those things he just thought were normal. So I think it depends on the family member, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I think once he sort of realised that, he was really quite open and supportive. We've been quite lucky, haven't we, with close family.
Oh yeah, that's really. We had one of those. Someone not in our family, but someone really close to us. We were like, "Oh, here's some books and a podcast," and they were listening and reading, and we're like, no one else does that, like, or not everyone does that kind of moment, and it made me laugh because I kind of knew. From just reading my own book, reading my own books and listening to podcasts and having a son, kind of learning about him. I was like, oh yeah, I think this is, so-and-so. Then for them to come to that realization it was really funny. It was a very funny text conversation, we'll just say. So I love to end the podcast on this one question, and I'd love to hear both of you. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever comes to mind. But what do you want the world to know about neurodiverse people?
That it's not something that needs to be cured. Like autism is not a disease. Yeah, I think the world needs people who think differently. For my son, you could give him a game when he was 2-3 years old and he would look at that game and you tell him how to play it, but he would always change it and make it into his own game. He would never sort of just accept that those are the rules and this is how we do it. And that's how he kind of looks at life. And I think we need those people to think outside the box, to not just fall in line with everybody else, because they're the people who push humanity forward. And I'd just like to see that more embraced and accommodating more in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think they add color. Like Neurodivergent people add color into the world, even though they think black and white, or I know most autistic people, well, not all autistic people, but they have in my house, the autistic people think black and white is what I'm trying to say, but they add color because of their thinking and how they can think outside the box. So yeah, that's a really good answer. What about you, Victoria?
Yeah, and I think it's easy to see the struggles, the challenges, but you have to recognize that with those struggles and challenges, there is huge strengths, really, as Natalie said. And what we need to do is just be inclusive and offer support so that like everyone will do better, really.
Yeah, that's really good. So I mentioned that you guys have a podcast. Where can people find you? Remind them the name of the podcast. Give them all the details.
They can find us at theautismmums.com. And then there's a link on that website to the podcast if they like to have a listen. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and the links are on the website.
Yep. And they'll be down in the show notes as well. So definitely have a look at that. So, well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming and chatting and sharing more of your everyday with us. I really appreciate you guys coming on. So thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
One thing I'm taking away from today's conversation is how special interests aren't just hobbies. They're a beautiful way of autistic individuals connecting with the world, finding joy, and expressing who they are. And today's vocab moment is special interests. Intense and passionate interests that are common among autistic individuals. They can bring comfort, joy, and a deep sense of identity. Some examples of these is Natalie's son loves fossil hunting and being outdoors, while Victoria's daughter dissects Harry Potter plots with forensic precision. Make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. When you hit follow, each new conversation drops straight into your feed. Easy, automatic, and ready when you are. Go out there, keep the conversation going, and we'll see you next week.